Let me ask, you mentioned a disagreement with Weinberg on reality. Could you elaborate a little bit?
Well, I don't disagree with Steve Weinberg on physics itself. I wouldn't know enough to even begin to do that. And clearly, he's one of the founders of the Standard Model and so on, and it works to a level of accuracy that no physical theory has ever worked at before. I suppose the question in my mind is something that, in one way, could go back to the philosopher Immanuel Kant in the 18th century, namely, can we really ever convince ourselves that we have come to grips with something that is not in itself knowable to us by our senses, or even except in the most remote way through the complex instruments that we make as to what it is that underlies everything? Can we corral it with mathematics and experimental structures? Yes. Do I think that a particular way of corralling nature will inevitably play itself out? I don't know. It always has. I'll put it to you that way.
So the basic question is, can we comprehend reality? Sounds like a very trippy question because a lot of it rests on definitions of know and comprehend and reality, but get to the bottom of it. Like it's turtles on top of turtles. Can we get to the bottom turtle?
Well,
and say hello.
Maybe I can put it to you this way, in a way that I often begin discussions in a class on the history of science and so on, and say, I'm looking at you.
Yes.
You are, in fact, a figment of my imagination.
You have a messed up imagination, yes.
Well, what do I mean by that? If I were a dragonfly looking at you, whatever my nervous system would form by way of a perceptual structure would clearly be utterly different from what my brain and perceptual system altogether is forming when I look at you. Who's right? Is it me or the dragonfly?
Well, the dragonfly is certainly very impressive, so I don't know. But yes, it's the observer matters.
Well,
what is that supposed to tell us about objective reality?
Well, I think it means that it's very difficult to get beyond the constructs that our perceptual system is leading us to. When we make apparatus and devices and so on, we're still making things, the results of which, or the outputs of which, we process perceptually in various ways. And an analogy I like to use with students sometimes is this. All right, they all have their laptops open in front of them, of course, okay? And I've sent them something to read. And I say, okay, click on it and open it up. So a PDF opens up. I said, what are you looking at? They said, well, I'm looking at, the paper that you sent me. I said, no, you're not. What you're looking at is a stream of light coming off LEDs or LCDs coming off a screen. And I said, what happens when you use your mouse and move that fake piece of paper on the screen around? What are you doing? You're not moving a piece of paper around, are you? You're moving a construct around, a construct that's being processed so that our perceptual system can interact with it in the way we interact with pieces of paper.
Yes.
But it's not real.